Buddhāvataṃsaka Sutra. Book 17. The Merit of the Initial Determination for Enlightenment. Video 2. Then the enlightening being Truth Wisdom looked over all the congregations in all lands in the 10 directions of the entire realm of space, and because he desired to perfect the living beings, because he wanted to purify all actions, results, and consequences, because he wanted to reveal the realm of reality, because he wanted to extirpate the roots of defilement, because he wanted to increase great faith and resolution, because he wanted to cause all to know the faculties of infinite sentient beings, because he wanted to cause all to know the equality of past, present, and future phenomena, because he wanted to cause all to contemplate the realm of nirvana, and because he wanted to increase inherently pure roots of goodness, he spoke these verses by the power of Buddha. To benefit the world, enlightening beings make a great resolution, that resolution extending everywhere throughout the 10 directions, living beings, lands, the phenomena of past, present, and future, enlightened as well as enlightening beings, supreme oceans, to the limits of space, equal to the cosmos, and all the worlds there are therein, in accord with Buddha's teachings, they go to every one. Arousing their mind this way, they never regress. They think of living beings with compassion, never abandoning them. They reject all that is harmful, benefiting all. Their light illumines the world, being as a refuge, guarded by the 10 powered inconceivably. They enter all lands in the 10 directions, manifesting all kinds of physical forms. In accord with Buddha's virtue and knowledge, boundless, they cultivate the appropriate causes, without any attachment. Some lands face upward, some sideways or inverted. Coarse, subtle, wide and vast, there are innumerable kinds. Once enlightening beings have roused the supreme aspiration, they can travel to all of them, unobstructed. Enlightening beings' supreme practices cannot be all told, all they cultivate diligently without dwelling anywhere. Seeing all Buddhas, they're always joyful, and enter everywhere into the ocean of profound truths. Pitying beings living in mundane dispositions, they cause them to clear away defilements, to be thoroughly pure. Succeeding to the lineage of Buddhas, they do not let it die out, they devastate the palace of demons, completely destroying them. Dwelling in the equanimity of the enlightened, they skillfully cultivate subtle techniques. Developing aspiration for the realm of Buddhahood, they are anointed by the Buddhas, their minds without attachment. Remembering to requite their debt to the most honorable human, their minds are incorruptible, like diamond. Able to clearly comprehend the sphere of Buddha's action, they naturally cultivate and practice enlightening deeds. The different thoughts of the various realms of beings are infinite, their acts, their results, and their minds are also not one. Everything down to their various different faculties and natures are all clearly seen once the great mind is developed. That mind is far-reaching, as vast as the cosmos, without reliance, unchanging, like space, heading for Buddha knowledge without grasping anything. It clearly comprehends the realm of truth, apart from discriminatory thought. Knowing the minds of living beings without the concept of beings, comprehending all things without the concept of things, though discriminating all, yet free from discrimination, it goes to all lands, billions and trillions. Following, contemplating, able to enter all the wondrous truths of teachings of countless Buddhas, knowing all the faculties and behaviors of living beings, those who have reached this point are like the Buddha. always in accord with the pure great vow, gladly supporting the enlightened without turning back, always pleasing to the sight of humans and celestials, always protected mindfully by the Buddhas. Their minds are pure, free from dependence. Though they contemplate the profound teaching, they do not cling, meditating thus for countless eons without any attachments in the past, present, or future. Their minds are firm and sure, impossible to overcome. They proceed to Buddha's enlightenment without obstruction. Determined to seek the wondrous way, they get rid of infantile ignorance. Traversing the whole cosmos, they do not complain of weariness. They know the phenomena of speech and language are all null and void. Only entering into true thusness, they cut off different interpretations. Harmoniously observing all the spheres of the enlightened, they comprehend all frames of time, their minds without obstruction. When enlightening beings first develop the vastly great mind, they can go to all lands in the 10 directions, aspects of truth beyond number or explanation. Their light of knowledge illumines clearly, liberating many with great compassion, utterly beyond compare. Their kindness extends everywhere, like space. And yet they do not discriminate in regard to living beings. Thus being pure, they roam through the world, giving solace and comfort to living beings everywhere. Everything they do is true and genuine. Always with a pure heart, they don't contradict themselves. They are always strengthened and protected by all the Buddhas. They remember everything that was in the past, and discern everything in the future. They enter all worlds in the 10 directions to liberate beings, causing them to be detached. Enlightening beings have the light of sublime knowledge and understand causes and conditions beyond any doubt. They do away with all confusion and delusion, and in this way roam the reality realm. All the palaces of demons they smash. All the blinders of living beings they destroy. Free from discrimination, minds undisturbed, they understand well the realm of the enlightened. They have removed the webs of doubt of all time and aroused faith in those who have realized thusness. By faith they've attained immutable knowledge, and because their knowledge is pure, their understanding is true. In order to allow living beings to attain emancipation, and to benefit them universally throughout all time, they undergo long toils and hardships unflagging, calmly enduring even the pains of the hells. Replete with boundless virtue and wisdom, they know all the faculties and inclinations of beings. They see all, including their works and deeds, and teach them in accord with their tendencies. They understand all is empty and selfless, yet think kindly of beings, never abandoning them. With one subtle, sublime voice of great compassion they enter all worlds to teach. Emanating great lights of various colors, they shine on all beings, removing the darkness. In the lights are enlightening beings sitting on lotus blossoms, bringing forth the pure teaching for all beings. In a single pour they manifest many lands, with great enlightening beings filling them all. The knowledge of the congregation is different for each, while all can understand the minds of living beings. To unspeakably many lands in the 10 directions they can go in an instant, to all of them, aiding beings, giving offerings to Buddhas. From the Buddhas they ask the profound truth. They think of the enlightened ones as parents, and perform enlightening practices to benefit sentient beings. With wisdom and flexible means they penetrate the treasury of truths, entering the profound realm of knowledge without any attachment. Meditating in accord with truth, they explain the reality realm for countless eons, without being able to exhaust it. Though their knowledge skillfully penetrates, it has no location. They are not tired or wearied, have no attachment to anything. Born in the house of the Buddhas of past, present, and future, they experience the subtle reality body of the enlightened ones, manifesting various forms for all living beings. Like magicians, there's nothing they can't make. Some manifest the beginning of practice of excellent action, some manifest birth, up to leaving home, some manifest fulfilling enlightenment under a tree, and some show extinction, for the benefit of beings. The rare truth in which enlightening beings abide is only the realm of Buddhas, not the two vehicles. They are rid of concepts of body, speech, and thought, but can manifest them variously, according to the occasion. The Buddha teachings attained by enlightening beings, sentient beings, go crazy when thinking of. The knowledge of enlightening beings enters reality, their minds unhindered. Everywhere they manifest the independent powers of the enlightened. In this they have no compare in all the world, how much the more when their excellent practices are added. Though they have not yet completely fulfilled omniscience, they have already attained the independent power of the enlightened. Already they abide on the ultimate path of the one vehicle and enter deeply into the subtle highest truth. They know beings well, and appropriate and inappropriate times. For beings' benefit they reveal spiritual powers, multiplying their bodies. They fill all lands, emanating pure light to remove the darkness of the world. Like dragon kings producing great clouds, they shower wonderful rains, filling and refreshing all. They see sentient beings as like illusions and dreams, always revolving in circles from the force of their acts. With compassion and pity they rescue them all, explaining to them the uncreated, pure nature of things. The infinity of Buddha's powers is also like this, like space, it has no bounds. In order to enable sentient beings to attain liberation, they diligently practice for eons untiring. Pondering in various ways upon wondrous virtues, they skillfully cultivate the unsurpassed foremost of works. Never giving up the transcendent practices, they concentrate on developing omniscience. With one body they manifest innumerable bodies, omnipresent throughout all worlds. Their minds pure, with no discrimination. Such is their instantaneous inconceivable power. They do not discriminate among worlds, they have no illusions about anything. While they contemplate the teachings, they do not grasp them, and though they are always rescuing beings, none are delivered. All worlds are only mental images, therein are various distinctions. Knowing the realms of idation are dangerous and deep, enlightening beings manifest spiritual powers to rescue and liberate. Like the powers of a magician are the spiritual metamorphoses of enlightening beings. Their bodies fill the cosmos and space for all to see according to their mentalities. Both distinctions of subject and object they have left behind. Whether defiled or pure, nothing do they grasp. Cognition of bondage or of liberation they entirely forget, only vowing to grant bliss to all sentient beings. All worlds being only the force of idation, they enter them by knowledge with minds free from fear. Their contemplation of all things is also thus, investigating their past, present, and future. They cannot be apprehended. Able to enter into the whole of the past, able to enter into the whole of the future, able to enter into all places in the present, they always observe diligently how nothing exists. According with the dispassionate state of nirvana, they abide in non-contention and non-reliance. Their minds, like ultimate reality, have no compare. They are turned wholly to enlightenment, never to regress. Cultivating supreme practice without backsliding or weakening, they rest on enlightenment, unwavering. Buddhas, enlightening beings, and the worlds throughout the cosmos, they all clearly understand. If you want to attain the supreme, foremost of paths, and be an omniscient sovereign of liberty, you should quickly develop the determination for enlightenment, forever end indulgence and help sentient beings. Proceeding to enlightenment, mind pure, your virtues will be vast and great beyond telling. I am setting this forth for the benefit of beings. Those of intelligence should listen well. Infinite worlds are all atoms. In each atom are infinite lands. The Buddhas in each are infinite. Enlightening beings see all clearly without any grasping. They know living beings without having such a concept. They know spoken words with no idea of speech. Their minds are unhindered in any world. They comprehend all without attachments. Their minds are broad and vast as space. They comprehend all things in all times. They annihilate all doubt and confusion, and correctly perceive the Buddha's teachings without clinging. To infinite lands in the 10 directions they instantly go, their minds without attachment. Understanding the reasons for suffering in the world, they all dwell in the uncreated sphere of reality. To the assemblies of infinite Buddhas they go to call on them. Always being leaders, they ask the Buddhas about the vows and practices cultivated by enlightening beings. Their minds always remember the Buddhas of the 10 directions, yet without depending on or grasping anything. They constantly urge living beings to plant roots of goodness, adorning their lands, making them pure. All sentient beings in all realms of existence they observe with unobstructed eyes, their habits, natures, faculties, and understandings, countless and boundless, all they clearly see. Aware of all defilement and purity, they cause them to cultivate themselves and enter the way. Measureless, countless meditation concentrations enlightening beings can enter in a single instant. Their perceptions, knowledges and objects therein they all know thoroughly and attain mastery. Enlightening beings, attaining this great knowledge, immediately direct it to enlightenment, unhindered. Because they want to help and benefit living beings, wherever they are they expound the principles of great people. They know the long and short eons of the world. A month, a fortnight, a day and a night, in each land are different, but equal in essence. Always diligently observing, they are not lax or indulgent. Going to all worlds in the 10 directions, yet they do not cling to place or location. Adorning and purifying all lands with exception, yet they never produce the concept of purity. Sentient beings' rights and wrongs, the differences in their deeds and the consequences, they accordingly reflect upon, entering the Buddha's power and comprehending all of this. The various natures in all worlds, various courses of action, and the realms of being, sharp faculties as well as the middling and inferior, all such things do they observe and examine. Various understandings, pure and impure, superior, inferior, and middling, all they clearly see. The acts of all beings and where they lead, the continuity of realms of being, all they can explain. Meditations, concentrations, liberations, trances, defiled and pure, their causes and origins each different, these, plus the differences of pain and pleasure of past lives. Purely cultivating Buddha power, all they can see. Sentient beings' habitual delusions continue the various states of being. By cutting off these tendencies and states they attain peace and dispassion. Various tainted states do not arise anymore. All this, and the seeds of those habits, enlightening beings know. The afflictions of the enlightened are all extinguished. Their light of great knowledge illumines the world. Though enlightening beings have not yet attained Buddha's 10 powers, yet they do not have doubt. Enlightening beings, in a single pour, manifest the infinite lands of the 10 directions. Some are defiled, some are pure, mad by various deeds, all do they comprehend. In a single atom, infinite lands, with infinite Buddhas and their offspring. The lands are each distinct, not mixed up, as of one, all they clearly see. In one pour they see all the worlds in the space of the 10 directions. There is not a single place where there is no Buddha. Thus are the Buddha lands all pure. In a pour they see Buddha lands, and also see all sentient beings. The 3 times and 6 dispositions are not the same day and night, month and hour, bondage and freedom. Thus do enlightening beings of great knowledge single-mindedly head for the sovereignty of truth. Meditating on the abode of the enlightened, they obtain boundless great joy. Enlightening beings multiply their bodies into countless billions to make offerings to all the enlightened ones. The manifestations of their spiritual powers are supreme, incomparable. They can abide in all the spheres of action of the Buddhas. They praise and look up to all the countless Buddhas and deeply savor the treasuries of all their teachings. Seeing the Buddhas, hearing their teachings, they diligently practice them, their hearts joyful, as if they were drinking ambrosial elixir of immortality. Having attained the supreme concentration of the enlightened, they delve into all truths and their knowledge grows. Their faith is unshakable as a great mountain, being a treasury of virtues for all living beings. Their compassion is great, extending to all living creatures. All they hope will soon develop universal knowledge. Yet they are always without attachment or dependence. Shedding afflictions, they've attained freedom. Vast in knowledge, with pity for sentient beings, they embrace all as the same as themselves. With awareness of emptiness, signlessness, and unreality, yet they act, their minds unflagging. The virtues of enlightened beings' determination for enlightenment could not be exhaustively told even in a billion eons, because it produces all the enlightened ones, and the bliss of the self-enlightened and Buddha's disciples. To give peace for countless eons to all the beings of the lands of the 10 directions, urging them to keep the 5 precepts and 10 virtues, the 4 meditations, 4 equipaces, and such concentrations, and also giving them bliss for many eons, causing them to cut off delusions and become saints, amasses virtue which may be immeasurable, but cannot compare to the virtue of the will for enlightenment. Also, to cause millions to achieve individual awakening and attain the subtle path of non-contentious action, does not amount to anything much at all compared to the determination for enlightenment. If one could pass billions of lands in an instant and did so for immeasurable eons, the number of these lands might be assessed, but the virtues of the will for enlightenment cannot be known. The number of eons past, future, and present is boundless, yet still might be known. But the virtue of rousing the mind to enlightenment cannot be measured by anyone, This is because the determination for enlightenment extends everywhere, knowing all discernments that exist, comprehending past, present, and future in an instant, benefiting innumerable sentient beings. The desires, understandings, means, and mental patterns of the sentient beings of the worlds of the 10 directions, as well as the bounds of space, might be measured, but the virtues of the aspirations for enlightenment cannot be assessed. Enlightening beings' aspiration is equal to the 10 directions. Their kindness universally nourishes all living beings, causing all to cultivate the virtues of Buddhahood. That's why their power has no bounds. Sentient beings' desires, understandings, inclinations, faculties, devices, and practices are all different. Enlightening beings know them all instantly, same as the mind of omniscience. The deluded actions of living beings continue through time without interruption, yet their bounds still might be known. But the virtues of will for enlightenment are inconceivable. Will for enlightenment can divorce afflictions of action and provide offerings to all the enlightened. Once habitual delusions are divorced, their continuity is broken, and liberation is attained for all time. If one gives offerings to boundless Buddhas in an instant, and also gives to countless sentient beings, fragrant flowers and garlands, precious banners, canopies, and raiment, fine food, excellent seats, and places to walk around, various palaces, all finely adorned, luminous, wonderful pearls, wish-fulfilling jewels, radiating light, and brings such offerings moment after moment over countless eons, beyond the power of speech. Though such a person's accumulation of merit would be great, it does not equal the magnitude of the virtue of aspiring to enlightenment. None of the various examples told can match the determination for enlightenment, because the most honorable people of all times have all been born from this aspiration. The will for enlightenment is unhindered, unlimited, no measure can be found for it. Vowing to fulfill omniscience, to forever deliver all beings, that aspiration is vast as space, producing virtues equal to the cosmos. Their share of action extending everywhere, as though there were no difference, forever leaving all attachments, equal to the Buddhas, entering all gates of truth, able to travel to all lands, arriving at all spheres of knowledge, perfecting all virtues, able to relinquish everything, always consistent, purifying behavior, free from attachment, fulfilling unsurpassed virtues, always persevering without regression, entering deep concentration, always meditating, uniting with vastly great knowledge and wisdom. This is the supreme stage of enlightening beings, producing the path of all the universally good. All the enlightened ones of past, present, and future protect the initial aspiration, adorning it with spiritual powers and mystic transfiguration, with concentrations and spells. The living beings of the 10 directions are infinite, as are the worlds and space, but the infinity of the enlightenment aspiration surpasses these, hence it can give birth to all Buddhas. The will for enlightenment is the basis of the 10 powers as well as the 4 special knowledges and fearlessnesses. The same is true of the 18 unique qualities, all of them are attained from the aspiration for enlightenment. The Buddha's physically adorned bodies, as well as their equal body of reality, their knowledge, wisdom, and non-attachment, worthy of honor, all can exist because of the determination for enlightenment. All the vehicles of individual illuminates and Buddhist disciples, the pleasures of the meditation states of the realm of form, as well as the trances of the formless realm, all have the will for enlightenment as their basis. The free pleasures of humans and gods, as well as the various pleasures of the other states of being, and the pleasures of progress, concentration, religious faculties and powers, and so on, all depend on the first aspiration to enlightenment. Based on the production of this far-reaching determination can one practice the 6 ways of transcendence, urging sentient beings to carry out right practice, experiencing peace and happiness in the 3 realms, abiding in the Buddha's unhindered true knowledge, revealing all the wonderful actions there are, able to cause countless living beings to cut off deluded actions and turn to nirvana, making vows of boundless virtues to give happiness to all living beings, carrying out these vows forever and ever, always working so as to liberate beings, the infinite great vows inconceivable, vowing to purify all living beings, though empty, signless, wishless, without reliance, by the power of will, enlightening beings can reveal them. Understanding the inherent nature of things is like space. That all are quiescent, all equal, the gates of the teaching, countless, unspeakable, they expound to beings, without attachment. All enlightened ones of the worlds of the 10 directions all praise the first aspiration for enlightenment. This inspired mind is adorned by infinite virtues and can arrive at the other shore, same as the Buddhas. Were those virtues to be expounded for as many eons as there are living beings, they could not be all told. Because this mind dwells in the vast house of the enlightened, nothing of the world can compare it or explain it. If you want to know all the truths of the Buddhas, you should quickly develop the determination for enlightenment. This determination is the most excellent of virtues, assuring attainment of the unhindered knowledge of the enlightened. The mental activities of living beings might be counted, and so might the number of atoms in a land. The extent of space might be assessed, but the virtues of the will for enlightenment cannot be measured. It produces all the Buddhas of all times, and perfects happiness in all worlds, increases all excellent virtues, extirpates all confusion, reveals all wondrous realms, eliminates all obstacles, develops all pure lands, produces all enlightened knowledge. If you want to see all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and want to disburse from the inexhaustible treasury of virtue, if you want to extinguish the afflictions of beings, quickly arouse the will for enlightenment. The end of Book 17.